What is up, good people of YouTube? This is Fresh Pair checking in for another performance review, and for today we examine the Adidas Light 'em Up 2. I've played in my pair for 6 days or a total of about 14 hours of games on different courts. But before anything else, please hit the thumbs up button and do subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. You may also follow me on Instagram because that's where I post regular updates. Check my website as well at www.freshpair.ph. All the links will be in the description box below. I appreciate all the support, and with that said, let's light 'em up. On to the review.
Hey, oh, oh, hey, oh, oh, hey, oh, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, no, hey, oh, no, hey, hey,
The upper material of this mid-top silhouette, which is almost a single-piece construction except for the medial panel, is mesh on top of fuse and thin foam. The throat is part of the upper and it wraps around the top of your midfoot almost like a spring roll. The lacing system here consists of 5 nylon lace loops that do not stretch and are stitched on the upper. There is also an internal plastic heel counter that sits about a third of the heel collar, and the heel counter extends along the base of the ankle. As for the midsole, there is bounce foam from heel to the midfoot. This does not seem to have bounce foam at the forefoot. Instead, the forefoot feels like it has your standard foam that is rather thin. Meanwhile, the outsole features herringbone pattern from heel to toe. Interestingly, while the pattern is the same throughout, the stiffness and thickness are not. Specifically, the rubber treads at the forefoot and a section of the medial are thin and pliable. On the other hand, the rubber treads at the heel and a section of the lateral are thick and stiff. Throughout the outsole are curved grooves as well, both horizontally and vertically. Inside the shoe, you have foam pads at the heel and ankle. An EVA insole also adds just a bit of step-in comfort. Now, as for durability, the shoe feels durable overall, except for the forefoot traction pattern. So far, I've had no durability issues with my pair. The traction needs very minimal break-in time. Once broken in, expect decent traction on clean courts, particularly at the forefoot due to its thin and pliable treads. While it's not as squeaky as I thought it would be, the grip is there. However, a bit of dust will lessen the traction, so on moderately dusty courts, wipe the outsole every once in a while, especially the forefoot. I wouldn't use this on really dusty courts though, but if you choose to do so, wipe the outsole whenever you have the chance. Now, will the traction pattern hold up on courts with rough surfaces? Well, since the rubber treads at the forefoot are thin and pliable, they will grind out fast. And even if the rubber treads at the heel are durable enough, I wouldn't recommend this for regular hooping on courts with rough surfaces. Otherwise, you will end up with a shoe that has broken forefoot traction. In other words, I would play in this strictly on courts with smooth surfaces. Also note that the spaces between the treads are deep and debris on outdoor courts will get stuck in them. There are horizontal and vertical grooves at the outsole, but they do not add major flex. This is because the grooves do not really cut through the sides of the shoe with ample depth. Heel-to-toe transition can be initially awkward. While the heel footbed is about as high as the midfoot, the forefoot outsole is elevated by about 20 degrees, and the surface of this elevation is almost straight. The forefoot midsole is also thinner. The overall result is a drop at the ball of your forefoot when running or walking. This is noticeable on initial wear or if you are not used to this setup. It forces you to be almost always on your toes when doing quick movements. It may feel initially odd, but you'll eventually adjust. If you play mostly on your toes, then you'll enjoy this setup. I sure did. Let's talk about cushioning. Impact protection at the heel is good. Hard heel strikes are tolerable because of the bounce foam. The feeling is a bit similar to the D Lillard 2, but not on the same level. However, the forefoot cushioning is a bit of a letdown. It lacks responsiveness mainly because of the thin forefoot foam midsole, and heavy hoopers may not like this. The cushioning here could have been better though. For one, Adidas should have used full-length bounce for adequate forefoot cushioning. It could mean a little price increase, but I think it's definitely worth it. For another, Adidas should have used a softer rubber outsole similar to the D Lillard 2, especially since the forefoot treads of the Light 'Em Up 2 are already soft to begin with. Doing so will improve the overall cushioning. That's right, outsoles can affect cushioning, as everything beneath your feet can, including the socks that you wear. This also has your standard EVA insole for step-in comfort. Now you may remove the stock insole that is glued on the footbed and replace it with Ortholite insole for a bit of extra forefoot cushioning. Now let's quickly go to court feel. As I have mentioned earlier, the forefoot section is elevated and the forefoot midsole is thin. The result is excellent forefoot court feel, and it works well with the forefoot drop. It's the standout feature of the shoe, at least for me, and I like it. For the fit, go a half size down. Seriously, the shoe is long. My true size is 11 and I picked up a 10.5. Now if there was a size 10.25, I would have grabbed it. But there wasn't any, of course, and there won't be. I didn't go a full size down because it felt too snug and uncomfortable. Wide footers should also go a half size down. This is another example of Adidas' weird sizing. Apparently, lacing tight is essential in any shoe, but it is more indispensable in the Light 'Em Up 2 so that the throat will wrap the top of your midfoot and the upper material will hug your foot. The containment is at its best when the throat curves inward and the top medial is pulled over the throat after you laced up. So go at least a half size down for that decent fit and lacing. Otherwise, you will have containment issues. There are foam pads at the heel and they provide extra heel lockdown. Fortunately, I've had zero heel sliding in the shoe. Finally, ventilation is not the best aspect of the shoe. While there is an external layer of open mesh, the fuse and foam backing prevent air from penetrating the shoe. Heat won't easily escape either, so this isn't really good for hooping in the open sun. I tried and it was a mistake. For the Adidas Light 'Em Up 2, the support primarily depends on the fit and the lacing setup, so again make sure to get that perfect size. Otherwise, the shoe will feel clunky and worse, unsupported. With a loose fit, the throat will not securely wrap around the top of your midfoot. Ultimately, you'll have plenty of dead space inside, and you won't get that one-to-one fit for good support. Also, the pressure from lacing up is top-loaded. This is because the lace loops are stitched at the top midfoot and they do not go all the way down the base of the shoe. As a result of this top-loaded pressure, the throat will not easily unwrap. The materials of the shoe complement the support coming from the fit and lacing setup. While the upper material is soft and flexible, it does not have significant stretch. As a result, your feet are locked in place during hard lateral movements. Also, the piece of rubber that extends from the outsole to the lateral side adds forefoot containment during cuts and crossovers. Although I think there was really no need for it from a performance standpoint. The zero stretch of the upper material already gets the job done. The base of the shoe is fairly narrow and there is no out trigger. If you have problems with your footwork, the shoe won't be supportive enough. You might roll an ankle among other concerns. However, if your footwork is good, then this shoe won't pose any significant issue such as causing ankle rolls. The internal plastic heel counter keeps your heel in place. There's really nothing too much to say about it other than it's pretty standard. As for range of motion, the tongue can partially restrict pushes during forward movements. This is because the tongue will block your lower shin, but it's bearable. It's just noticeable at the start. Given the overall features of the Adidas Light 'Em Up 2, it is fair to say that the shoe is built primarily for quick players who mostly hoop on indoor courts with smooth surface and minimal dust. Heavy hoopers may also play in this, but they may find the forefoot cushioning and support unimpressive. Either way, the fit is crucial. So if you're planning to get a pair, please go at least a half size down, assuming of course that you really know your true size. I can't stress that enough. Having said so much, I give the Adidas Light 'Em Up 2 a grade of B+, which is equivalent to a grade of 87 to 89 points out of a maximum 100. Now, grades aside, I personally like the overall performance of the shoe, but that's just my preference. Yours could be different since no two players play in the exact same way. The price of the shoe, however, is relatively cheap, so that's always a plus for everyone. That is all for now, folks. Do like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, keep my website, and follow me on Instagram as well. Links are in the description box below. There will be more performance reviews in the future and one is coming out real soon, so do stick around. Much love everyone, peace!